Russ is going to tell us a little bit about some changes with the Amtrak informational signing at the train station. So Russ?
All right, thank you, Mayor. As most of council probably is aware, we've been working with Amtrak for a couple of years now on this passenger information display system project. We weren't sure exactly when Amtrak is looking to or was looking to actually implement this project, but Amtrak has set aside funds to basically install what are known as PIDs, Passenger Information Display System. They're LED message boards that would be on the outside of the station and one LED message board or LCD message board inside the station. And these are the standard state-of-the-art message boards, electronic message boards that Amtrak has at all its stations. We're one of the last stations not to have these displays. So Amtrak is actually funding this project 100%, including design, and they completed design last year. And we were hopeful that they may get to the project this year. Well, we just received announcement March 25th that they intend to do that this summer, to install these display terminals or these display boards at our station and the computer software that's necessary to run them. And it's a very positive thing, I believe, for the users of the station and so forth. And this is more informational right now for council, just so that you're up to speed with the project that will be getting underway this summer. We don't have a specific date as to when it's getting underway. They're doing 4 projects in the Midwest, and they don't have an exact order of those projects, but we're looking to get our agreement with them in tomorrow. I've already signed it. John Hessel has reviewed it. It basically says that we're going to allow them to do this project on our property, and that they would own all the equipment. We don't own any aspect of it, but it should be a positive thing for the users of the station. The agreement itself is quite simple. It's consent of the landlord is what it's called, and it identifies the ownership of it and the ownership of the project itself and so forth. And the city would allow them to access the station and whatever's necessary to install these message boards. And the message boards are intended to be built on their own poles. So that's something that we tried to work with Amtrak. Could we get them mounted in a different way? They said, no, they have to be on their own poles. So they overhang the passenger area a little bit, the loading platform a little bit. But that's just part of their required design. So really, I just am open to questions about this particular project, and be glad to answer anything that you need to know about that. We do expect this to begin this summer.
Do we have any council member?
Will there be training for the folks that work in the station? Will they need to have any training? Okay, good. And Amtrak will do that as well.
Yes.
Okay, good. Thanks, Russ.
Mm-hmm.
So another hand somewhere. Liz.
So is the purpose to let folks know when trains are coming in and when they're leaving and that kind of information?
Yes, that's the purpose of it. It also includes a sound system as well, with speakers and ambient noise sensors and so forth, which allows the sound system to be adjusted based on the noise inside the station. It automatically adjusts itself. So, or outside the station for that matter. So it's really a very good computer controlled system.
And the sign on the outside will actually be like behind the station on the tracks, or or not on?
It's actually going to be next to the station, overhanging the platform. If you've ever been to any of the stations up around Chicago or something where you walk out onto the platform, you just look up and there's a display screen that says when the next train is coming. That's what's going to be installed.
Okay. Will look very official.
Yeah,
yes,
nice.
very much so.
Very cool.
We think it's a good addition to downtown and to really anybody who uses Amtrak. They don't have to continually ask the volunteers, when's the next train coming?
Yeah.
When's the next train you know?
Mark.
Yeah, Russ, will our folks be responsible for programming information? Will any of this feed from a central database within Amtrak?
My understanding is it's tied to exactly the database within Amtrak. Okay. So it's going to be within a few seconds. When it says a train is going to arrive, it's because all the sensors along the way and all the information along the way says the train is 2 miles out of Kirkwood at X miles an hour, and it'll feed that way.
Got it. That makes sense. Will there be a monitor on the inside as well as outside on the platform?
Yes. Yes, there's going to be one inside, and it'll be an LCD monitor because you don't need LED indoors.
Yep. Okay, great. Thanks, Russ.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else? Wallace?
Yeah, so no possible conflicts with our sign ordinance on the exterior sign?
I'm not aware of any conflicts with them. I mean, they are electronic signs downtown, but the city is allowing it to happen. So,
okay.
But they're not aimed toward the street. They're not for the purpose of advertising, and they're not going to have moving imagery or anything along those lines.
Okay.
All right, good. All right. Anything else from council on this? All right, well, thank you for that information, Russ, and let us know. All right, we'll probably see when things start.
Oh, I'll let you know before you see.
Yeah.
As soon as we know what the time frame is, I'll let council know, and really we'll make sure that we might even put a little bit of public information out there, because I think it's a positive thing for the city.
Yeah.
Very good. All right.
Also, since we're talking about Amtrak, just so council's aware, there is a bill it's part of the budget bill currently in Jefferson City to limit Amtrak to only one train per day in the state of Missouri, which is a huge disappointment, and hopefully that does not pass. The budget is being considered right now in both the House and the Senate. We have, I know a number of folks on Kirkwood's behalf have basically written their legislators in Jefferson City concerning the positives of having 2 trains per day, and benefits as to taking cars off the road on I-70 and so forth. So we're hopeful that this type of maneuver has been attempted in the past. Hopefully it will fail again, and we'll keep our 2 trains per day through Kirkwood.
Yeah, that lobbyist group left from Kirkwood last week, went to DC to campaign for some funding. And fortunately, we have a president who's a fan of rail travel, and he's talking about putting significant amounts of money into, passenger transportation by rail. And we really need to get back there.
Yeah, it's good infrastructure.
I agree.
All right, very good. Thank you, Russ. So
no problem.
Why don't we move on to the next item, survey questions.
Yes, as we discussed previously, our I guess biannual survey, which is every other year, we do a citizen survey, and this is typically a number of questions that are repeated every 2 years so that we can track trends and indicate people's opinions versus various levels of service for the services the city provides over a period of time. But we do have an opportunity with this survey instrument that we use to tailor some questions to specific needs that we have to identify what people think about regarding any number of subjects. So one of the ones that we discussed, or a few of the ones that we discussed at the last meeting, regarded shopping in downtown Kirkwood, dining in downtown Kirkwood, and the use of the Francis Scheidegger Recycling Center. Obviously, the ones regarding downtown Kirkwood, a number of council members rightly pointed out this may not be the best time to ask those questions because of the COVID situation and how people's actual habits have changed due to that. Maybe we save that for once things get back to quote unquote normal. But we feel that the Francis Scheidegger recycling question, basically how often in the past 12 months have you utilized that? And we can have some choices of answers, 1 to 3 times, 3 to 5 times, things along those lines. We can tailor that question. That would be the one that staff would recommend at this point. And we did hear from some council members. We asked council to please submit any thoughts they had on possible questions to supplement that. And we did receive a couple of suggestions. One regarded how in-person meetings versus virtual meetings would be received by citizens, and alternate locations possibly for in-person meetings with higher capacity for social distancing. So that's the type of question that was submitted. This was Mr. Ward submitted these. He also asked, could meetings be focusing on the completion of zoning? Should they be held virtually or should we wait till in person? And also, we received some thoughts on bicycling from Ms. Gibbons. And I framed a question that I thought could work, and that is Kirkwood's current level of bicycle accommodation appropriate for the need? I thought that might get to the heart of what we would want to know from our citizens and keep it simple. Those are just a few things for you all to discuss. If you've got other ideas, wide open to them. We do intend to try to get this survey out and have questions approved by the end of this month and have the survey out in early May.
Russ, the last one on bicycling, would that be a simple yes or no? Is that how
Yes.
you would envision that?
Yes, I see that as a yes or no question. Is our current level of bicycle accommodation appropriate for the need?
Okay. All right. Council, questions or comments for Russ? Maggie?
On Scheidegger, is there a way do we count how many people actually use it on a monthly level, level or a daily level? Or I'm just curious because really the survey is only going to get Kirkwood people.
That's correct. I think we would have to do a count. We do not currently do it, but in light of the survey, we would have to do a count to try to determine what proportion of the business there is from Kirkwood.
Mm-hmm.
We do not do that currently.
Okay. Yeah, that would
be part of what, to utilize this question to its fullest extent.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what you need to do.
Yes, correct. Okay, thank you.
I wonder, is there a simple way to gauge commercial use versus residential use?
No, not a simple way, other than stopping every person and dropping it off and asking what they're doing there. That may or may not be simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it would be tough. It'd be nice just to have a count to see, utilization. I think it would be very difficult to determine.
Right.
using
Yeah.
where they're from, unless, Russ, you want to stand there and ask them.
Well,
Well-
it could be me or it could be anybody, but some people aren't going to be forthcoming with information anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I would.
I've just been there on occasion and seen a guy with a pickup truck load or a box truck in.
Oh, I have too.
You know,
Yeah, oh, sure.
large
It
quantity.
happens. It
Yeah.
happens. And we suspect that a number of people are coming from out of town.
Yeah, I would like to know the percentage of us and them. Not a good way to put it, but
Bear with me 1 second. Bob is having trouble. Lori, do you mind communicating with Bob? He's having trouble. You or Freddie, if you don't mind. Oh, here he is. Here he
I was
is.
going to say it said he joined. Yeah, there he is.
There he is.
There we go.
Sorry, I was muted and I didn't know you can hear me.
No, that's fine. So, all right. So what do people think about, if nothing else, the bicycle question, as Russ basically proposed it?
What do we look at? What information are we looking for?
I think we're looking to determine whether people feel that it's that bicycling is, or bicycle accommodation in Kirkwood is at a level that they're comfortable with. So if they say no, that means we probably should consider investing more. If they say yes, it just, I think it enlightens us as to what people are really thinking about bicycle accommodation in the city.
Makes sense.
Do we need to ask whether they are bikers or not? I mean, I would think you'd want to know, are they a biking family? And if they are, then is it, because if they're not, then how do they answer that question?
I think there's a danger, use that word loosely, in asking a question like that, because, we're on a path right now where we want to expand pedestrian, walking, biking, etc. So we get a survey, and we know there are people out there who don't like bikers on the streets and all that. So we come back and get a survey that shows 53%, 62, whatever, say bike, what we have now is adequate. Then what do we do? And I think we've already made a commitment as a representative elected officials. This is something we want to move forward with. So I'm just not sure that the question on biking any which way really is a good one.
I agree. That's my discomfort too. Is it's so broad that I'm not sure the information is going to be very valuable. There's so much to that. There's so much to the answer in that question, depending on where you're coming from, and it makes me uncomfortable as well.
Well, you hand me.
Well, I'm wondering if a better question wouldn't be, you're getting to the same goal, is do you feel safe riding a bike on Kirkwood streets?
Remember these were, Ms. Gibbons basically said, I'm curious about bicycle usage in Kirkwood, and she didn't frame a question, so I'm just.
No, I didn't. I'm sorry.
Right,
But
that's all right.
I
I wouldn't expect you to necessarily.
Okay.
I think it's good for us to hash this out and try and get something that works.
I just wonder, is there any benefit for us knowing, how many people are currently biking? And it is, is that something we'd want to see every 2 years? What percentage are there more people biking than ever, or is it falling back, or what have you? That might be something that we want to know.
Yeah, I think it'd be good information, but I also think, to what Tim said, we're going to go ahead and move forward on this anyway with our Vision Zero plan and, our bike paths that we already have laid out. So, I think it would be good information, but I don't necessarily think that we should change our plans. I think we should move forward and invest in biking. And I think if we do that, then, the bikers are going to show up and they're going to enjoy what we'll give them.
And people are going to come in from other towns via even safe roads, not necessarily a trail, and stop for lunch. So I think it's a slippery slope.
Bob, do you have anything to add? We talked about survey questions.
I think it's a little unfair for me to jump on late and start making comments based on discussion I didn't fully hear, but I do feel like it's a puzzle, because for everything else, not everything else, but for many of the things we do, we insist on scientifically valid surveys so that we know what our community wants. It seems to me in this one, we're kind of afraid that maybe they won't get as much support as we as a group have decided it should have. And so we don't want to ask the question. I think maximizing public input is never harmful, even if it helps steer us in a direction that maybe the council didn't at first think it wanted to go. I'm not saying that as I've decided the issue.
Mm-hmm.
I'm bringing it up as an issue to think about as we each decide where we want to go with this.
I wouldn't say on that, that Bob is necessarily, being afraid of what we find out. There's so much data, there's so much that goes into that asking one question just may not give us the information we need unless we did, a whole list of them having to do with that topic. So that's what I meant by that. I'm not sure what we would really get from it.
I agree, but we asked, about a community center. We asked about a pool. We asked, we didn't say, do you swim? And if you do swim, do you think we need an indoor pool? We said, how does an indoor pool rank in what you want? And we use that as a basis for our decision making. And this just kind of sounds awkward to me to say we don't want to hear from them. We've already made our minds up, and we don't know if what they give us anyway will help us make a decision different than the one we've already made.
Yeah, and Bob makes a good point there. So one of the things that happened with the community center and the other surveys we did, it was very thorough on that one topic. And maybe at some future date, we do a survey that's just bike centric survey there, where it's all about bicycling, which is frequency of bicycling, type of bicycling. Are you a competitive bicyclist, the casual biker? Do you ride 12 months out of, those kinds of questions. So you get some sense of the picture of the audience that's responding to the survey.
Keep in mind, even though I have these questions running in my mind, I fully support the Vision Zero and not suggesting that we go a different path.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think my one hesitation to answering to swimming and community centers and and this is just a feeling, my punt is that more people have more information about those facilities than biking facilities. And that may be wrong, but there's a lot of different pieces of paths and what kind of paths and safe paths and roads that can accommodate them and all that sort of stuff that I'm not sure that question gives enough information for somebody to give an answer.
Let me ask this then. I mean, are basically everyone in agreement, the restaurant questions and the downtown questions should go just because of the times. We could do the recycling one. I'll just, ask for the consensus of the council. Do we want a question on bicycling? And if that's the case, we can have, Russ work on that over the next week. Or, I mean, I think that would be it. Just as a council, think we need some kind of question regarding bicycling. Sorry about that.
As we are getting going, including a meeting next week and another meeting the following week, I would rather see some education get out to the public, so people may have a little more background with which to make that decision.
I'm not feeling a strong need for a question on that. Is there anyone there's 6 of us here, anybody disagree with that vehemently?
No, then I'm real clear then. As I said, staff recommends that we have the Scheidegger. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Russ, you can finish. I'll go.
Yeah, just saying, staff recommends that the question be the Scheidegger question, and if we limit it to that one, that's fine. I think, especially since it's COVID time and everything, it's difficult to get any of the economic analysis type questions in there, or business usage and all that. So that precludes the dining and the shopping type questions. So I think we're good.
All right. Well, you did have your hand up.
Yeah, I was just wondering, since we're on the issue, if there is consensus that we have future surveys that are centered on just, let's call it pedestrians, separate one for pedestrians and a separate one for bicyclists. And so we get some sense of how are people viewing, what's their perception of where we are today.
A full survey, I mean, really could be done on those topics,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I would ask that we do it after we roll out a little more education on what the questions are talking about, so people get it.
Great
I think what
idea.
Maggie,
I think it's valid on its own, right? Well, I think it's valid on its own. Go ahead, Russ.
I think what Maggie is suggesting is strategically utilizing targeted surveys for advancement of the Vision Zero and the educational aspect of Vision Zero and complete streets, and really our transportation philosophy overall.
Mm-hmm.
Staff would fully agree with that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Sounds good. Thanks for all the comments on that. We have anything else for the open session?
No,
right.
I have nothing.
Okay. Well, with that then, I guess should we close now, or should we, Lori, what's your close now?
Yeah, we will do the motion second roll call now to go into close, and then you guys will go into close and then
Okay. Good. Okay.
do everything in there.
Is there a motion to go into closed session for CAO performance review?
Move approval.
All right, we have a second?
Second.
Questions or comments? All right, roll call, please.
Mayor Griffin,
Yes.
Councilmember Dewey,
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer,
Yes.
Councilmember Ward,
Yes.
Councilmember Wirtz. Oh, sorry, Councilmember Wirtz is absent. I apologize. Councilmember Gibbons,
Yes.
Councilmember Sears.
Yes.
All right, we are closed, so now we need to log out of this meeting and go into the one for the closed session. So see